Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the WE Speedliner, designed by Tashi Barucha, which it's very small. I don't know if you can actually see that. Can we see that? Yeah, just a little bit there. One of the newer releases from WE Knives. I have quite a bit to say, as per usual. This knife is available right now. I'll link it right down below in the description. It comes in both carbon fiber or full titanium for a little bit more. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to WE Knives for sending it in for review. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Okay, let's go ahead and get a measurement here. Overall length of the Speedliner coming in at about 8 inches. Blade length, 3.5. Cutting edge, it's about 3 1/8. How about some size comparisons? Any custom scales you find in this section can be found in the description under Original Goat and others. So up against the, oh, there it is. This whole time I've been looking for my titanium 80/20. Up against the 80/10 and the 80/20, 0.5. You can see here that this is a little bit longer than 20.5, not quite as big as something like the 80/10. How about up against the Spyderco Para 3 and the that's the PM2. And then here's the Para 3. Honestly, closer to the size of the PM2, but quite a bit more cutting edge, honestly. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. And let's do the Hogue Deca. There we go. How's the action on this knife? It's pretty much what you'd expect from WE, right? It's honestly not super tight. It's just kind of needs a little bit of encouragement to get into the close position. Detent is good. You have a pretty low profile, very classic Tashi Barucha pocket clip, flipper tab. Truthfully, the entire knife has that look, especially this area right here. That's what makes me think of it. When I unboxed this, I didn't recognize it immediately. But after I saw the logo and I started looking around the knife, I thought, yeah, obviously, right? So the flipper tab it's all right. It's not the most satisfying flip ever, but it's a good detent, and the flipper tab works as you would expect that it should work. This is a nested liner lock on this guy. Truthfully, what I should have done is looked at the titanium ones. I honestly, when I looked at the price just now of the titanium ones, I don't have a titanium one here. I just automatically assumed it was exactly the same. There's a chance it's actually a frame lock. So you might want to check that before if you decide you want to pick one of these up, make sure you check. Like if you have a preference between liner and frame lock, make sure you check on the titanium one if it's actually different. I truthfully don't know. I just know that the titanium versions are slightly more expensive. So this one here is a nested steel lock. It is not a titanium lock, which isn't really that big of a deal. Steel on steel contact is what you want, right? But sometimes when we're looking at a higher price tag, we like it to be titanium just because it makes us feel good, right? This is not titanium though. Access to it is all right. It sticks up a bit. It's a little toothy. It's a little sharp, right? But you'll have a few flips before your thumb wears out. All in all, pretty good system. No double clutch or anything like that, so it's going to operate the way that you want it to. How about carry profile thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3? It's about the same, and it's contoured, so not bad. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy's a little longer than the Para 3, a little shorter than the PM2. Even with the curvature of the scales, it's not quite as tall, so it's fine. Truthfully, the carry experience with this guy was pretty good. I didn't really feel over encumbered, and I also didn't feel like it was so small or lightweight that I was going to forget about it. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. So for the pivot, we have a T8. For the body screws, we also have T8. This has a backspacer. It's an interesting design here. It sort of lips over the carbon fiber, which I think is kind of a neat little touch there. It's not absolutely necessary, but it does add something to I'm not going to say it's otherwise boring. I mean, it's more unique design aesthetic just because it's a Tashi-Barucha, and they just generally don't look like every other knife out there. But otherwise, without that, there wouldn't be a whole lot separating this from any other Tashi-Barucha design. So that's kind of a neat little touch there. But truthfully, minimal hardware, and the pocket clip screws are the only ones that are different sizes. Those are going to be T6. No mounting position for the lefties. Sorry about that. Or not like I did that. I didn't do that. Sorry to lefties that they didn't mount a clip for lefty carry. But overall, minimal hardware, really simple construction. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and weigh it. We have, for materials, in this case, of course, carbon fiber. We have what I believe to be a titanium backspacer. Yep. And steel liner and CPM 20 CV for the blade steel, which is almost certainly printed somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. Extremely tiny down there. Can we even see it? Just barely. The weight on this guy, I think it's got to be 3.75 at the heaviest. No, almost 4 ounces. Okay. Not bad though. 4 ounces isn't super duper heavy unless you've been carrying around the lightweight or the mini bug out. In which case this might feel gargantuan, but to most people, it's not going to feel that big, right? Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness. I'm going to close that up here real quick. Blade stock thickness on this knife. Zero this out. I'm going to guess that's 1. Ooh, how am I going to get a hold of that? Oh, here's the flat down here. Blade stock thickness is coming in at a 1. Really? Wow. That just is so much thicker than I thought. 155? Really? Okay, let's try that again. Wow. 100 and almost 155,000. That's a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Meat and potatoes time. This is a Tashi-Barucha. Definitely. The blade, honestly, they did a good job with this area right here. Can we see how this ends? It's not really, it's kind of a sharpening tool, but more importantly, how they just ended this right here with no smile, right? Now it's just up to the end user to screw it up, right? So that area looks great out of the box, but as you sharpen it, it'll probably start to look a little goofy. Then again, that's usually the case no matter what, right? A lot of times when they just end this area and there's no sharpening, I understand this is different than a knife like... Is it the PM2 where it just ends and there's no sharpening? See what I mean? Ugh, just looks like horror. It just looks stupid. Not so much here, right? And honestly, this is a decent choke up position, but I gotta warn you, not a lot to warn you. I'll warn you now so that you don't have to worry about it later. Not a lot to tell you, hey, you're about to run your index finger up on the blade, right? So just be careful about that. If you lock in back here, it's all right. And you know what they did that I love? It's a milled titanium clip, but it's a short little clip. Plenty of retention in and out of the pocket, but almost no hot spot, right? The ergonomics of the handle are fine. It doesn't feel beautifully ergonomic, but it is a shape that you can hold on to. It's like a carbon fiber banana, right? And I find, but what I was about to say would have been very, very suggestive, so I won't say it. When I'm holding on to a banana, let's see, can I word this differently? When I find myself in possession of a banana, I also find myself in a position where I feel like I'm not going to let go of the banana on purpose. Okay. Anyways, yeah, it's like a small carbon fiber banana, and it's all right. It's not amazing, right? But it's okay. So I can't say that I have an enormous issue with it. The carbon fiber scales are contoured, and there's a couple of speed holes in here, which is fine. I mean, had they covered them, some people might have liked it more. It at least adds something because it would be very bland. Basically, the only uniqueness left would be the fact that it is a Tashi-Barucha, and it's something that you can identify by the general shape of the blade, the flipper tab, and the handle, right? So, yeah, it's subjective. You like it, you don't like it. It's not hurting anything, but some people just really hate holes. Like, I just really hate those holes, right? Okay, whatever. The blade shape, honestly, it's a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be. It's just kind of bizarrely, like it's not like massively thick. It's just, I just didn't expect it to be thicker than about 125 thousandths. The final cutting edge though, it's pretty good. I think it's more so the way that maybe they've sharpened it. This is kind of the edges are lifting just a little bit, but obviously that can be corrected with a quick sharpening or honestly just stropping it. In fact, I get a feeling that I can strop this thing and make it perform just slightly better. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bear with me. I want to see if I can actually do this. And this is why, I mean, cutting paper doesn't really prove much, right? I just want to see, I mean, sometimes if there's a little bit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A lot of this is just going to be you guys taking my word for it. But sometimes just a strop and some, you know, some of that stropping compound, yeah, just a little tiny bit better. Honestly, that first curly cue right there, it really bit in hard. So sometimes if the factory edge just doesn't feel absolutely perfect, sometimes you can just give it a 10 to 20 passes per side and it's a little bit better, right? It does feel a lot more sticky there. So honestly, the cutting geometry feels all right. It's just, you know, it doesn't really start to taper until about maybe right here. So you're still going to be pushing that 155 thousandths through whatever it is you're cutting, but honestly not bad. The overall blade, it's fine. Like for most EDC stuff, it's going to be fine. You'll get hung up more than an open L, but it's overall it's very, very good. Plenty good of a tip to do your puncture stuff. It's bead blasted, which is it's okay. It's sort of an overcast finish. It's all right. It's just, this is underwhelming now that I know what WE is capable of, and I understand the finish is just like, you know, it's preference, it's subjective. It's just a very boring combination of things. Carbon fiber and a blasted blade. Their silver bead blast looks absolutely gorgeous. If they're listing this as the same thing, I can tell you as an owner of many silver bead blast knives from WE, if this is silver bead blast, holy crap, does it vary. Some of it is much more reflective, and this is pretty flat. So I have a feeling this is just blasted, but whatever. If it is listed as the same thing, if this is listed as silver bead blast, then I would suggest you guys make sure that all of your silver bead blast is on the more reflective side, because that's much more impressive, and it should obviously be consistent. So that's just my take, right? Whatever you do, because some people will prefer a more matte look, whatever you do, make it consistent. But anyways, the rest of the knife, I mean, edges are kind of a hard angle, but not necessarily overly sharp, right? There's not really a lot going on here. It's pretty simple, but that's okay. Big open lanyard hole. It looks a little bit different, obviously, than a lot of the other lanyard holes that we see on knives, because they've sort of incorporated the shape into the overall design, and I think that's fine. The pocket clip is milled, nothing special going on here. Milled, there's a little bit of a ramp right there. It works. It's a little bit pinchy, but that's okay. You want that retention, especially on a shorter clip, and I'm still going to prefer that over a much longer clip, because I just feel like ergonomically it's better, and the clip will still do its job for the vast majority of people. The stop pin is actually attached to the blade. You can see that these are garaged, meaning they disappear in the open and closed position, and they contact either side of the steel liners, which again are present on both sides. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick, no double clutch, no pivot lash. Smooth enough and consistent enough in here, and a good medium to medium heavy detent with perfect centering and no detent lash. It's fine. If you love Tashi Barucha designs, you know, you might like this. He does a lot with Riot. I want to say a lot of those are on Blade HQ and Crane's Cutlery and other places, right? I think this is going to be slightly less expensive, but it's also still pretty expensive. WE wants $284 for this, and $317 for the titanium version, and like $600 and something for the Damasteel version, which is just, that's a hard no from me. Even the least expensive version of this, though, I'm just like, man, like this is not $284 cool. Right? WE has released some freaking bangers for under $300, and this is just not really that spectacular. $220? Sure. $284? $285? I don't know. You gotta really like the design, right? It's fine. This just isn't for me. There's just nothing super duper special going on here, and it'll work. It's made well. It flips well. The materials are fine. I'm sure that WE has applied their typical 59 to 61 Rockwell hardness to 20 CV, which seems to be the industry standard. It'll work, right? If you love the knife and you can choke down the price tag, go for it. Anybody else, if you're not like completely in love with the design, oh my gosh, you have so many other choices. Just on my channel alone, I could give you 100 other options, legitimately, if you look through my content. I'm not super pumped about this one, but it's made well, so that's really all I can say. Thanks again to WE for providing this knife for review. It's going to be linked down in the description in all variations. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.